Welcome. We would like to welcome you to the Greater Iberia Chamber of Commerce Forum for candidates seeking the office of New Iberia City Council. Districts with challengers are represented here tonight. Those districts are 2, 4, and 5. I'm Courtney Broussard, your moderator for tonight's forum. Tonight's forum is hosted by the Greater Iberia Chamber of Commerce, and we are grateful for the sponsorship of Iberia Comprehensive Community Healthcare Center and the partnership with Leadership Iberia Class 22. Tonight's program is purely informational. Neither the Chamber, Iberia Comprehensive Community Health Center, nor the Leadership Iberia program endorses any particular candidate running for office. There are a few announcements before we begin this evening's program. Our sponsors wish to remind you that the deadline to register to vote in person or by mail is October 5th. The deadline to register to vote through the Go Vote online registration system is October 13th. Early voting is October 16th through the 27th, excluding Sunday, October 25th, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Also, the Chamber is posting all the forums on their website at www.iberiachamber.org. At this time, I would like to introduce the candidates. All candidates in this race were invited to participate. Those in attendance tonight are District 2, Marlon Lewis, and Benjamin T. Myers. District 4, Deidre Ledbetter and Robert Bob Titus II. District 5, Sherry Guidry and Dee Dee Johnson Reed. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for an opening statement. We would then ask a series of questions. Candidates will have 90 seconds to answer most questions. To assist the candidates in keeping time, we have a timekeeper situated down front. Candidates, when your time begins, the green card will be on display. When you have 15 seconds left, the yellow card will be displayed. And when your time is up, the red card will be displayed. At that time, you must finish your sentence. If that takes more than a few seconds, the buzzer will sound to let you know that you must stop. All the questions I will ask tonight were predetermined. Questions were solicited from the public, and then an independent panel reviewed the questions submitted and came up with those that are to be asked tonight. All questions have been kept in strict confidence, and no one except a very small group of core panel members and I have seen them. At this time, we will start opening statements. Earlier, we drew for the starting order. We will start with Robert Bob Titus II. We will attempt to continue a rotation, alternating who starts with each round of questions. Robert Bob Titus II, please begin your opening statement.
Well, thank you very much to the Chamber and all those associated companies that's helping me put this on. I appreciate that opportunity to get to the community to give them some of my thoughts. I'm a small businessman from New Iberia. I've watched the political circuit for quite a while. I think that I have a lot of good ideas to present to the community, to the council, and I just like that opportunity to bring them forward. And I thank you very much for your time. That is my opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Sherry Guidry.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sherry Guidry. I'm your current councilwoman for the seat of District 5 as your representative. Let me just say thank you to all the sponsors that's a part of this. This is truly an exciting moment to be here with you all. And I want you all to know that my faith is everything to me. So, but also New Iberia, I'm still excited about you. And I'm a native. I'm a lifelong resident of this city. I'm a mother of 4 children, and I'm a grandmother of 3. and brand new grandmother of 3, 6 days ago. Hi, Cameron. I am looking forward to holding on to the confidence and the prayers and the support of my constituents, whom I've became a minister friend and also a part of your family. I'm number 97 on the ballot. I'm Sherry Guidry, and I hope that I have your support on November the 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Petey?
Hi, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to participate in this forum. I am Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. I am a native of New Iberia. Growing up here in New Iberia, I attended Mount Carmel Academy through my 10th grade year. I finished my last 2 years of school at New Iberia Senior High. I went on to further my education at USL, where I earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Education. A few years after graduating, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where I had a really successful career. I was able to work for several great companies where I was able to become a leader and to grow. While working there, I gained a lot of knowledge and experience in people management, project management, program management, contract negotiations, vendor management, and all a host of other types of skills. I was in charge of a $20 million budget. I had the most diverse team in my department, and I received awards for always staying within my budget. I am also a mother of 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is a LSU law graduate. My middle daughter graduated from LSU with a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Arts degree, and my youngest daughter went to school in Georgia, and she currently holds a master's degree in teaching. I'm so excited about being back here. I couldn't think of anywhere else to live but New Iberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Marlon?
Hi, my name is City Councilman Marlon Lewis. I've been in office for 4 years, and I've been grateful and gracious to serve. I serve with integrity, I serve with honesty, but most of all, I serve to fulfill a legacy. Not just because my grandfather and my aunt served in this same capacity that I want to serve, but I want to continue the legacy of service. This is an easy job, especially not during these times with COVID-19 and all the other issues we're facing in our country. But locally, we have to stick together and continue to work to build our community. New Iberia is a beautiful place to live. I represent the West End community, District 2, and I promise you, we have our issues, but I'm up for the challenge. I'm up to fight for the issues, as I've always done. I'm a business owner, been a barber for 28 years, graduated from New Iberia Senior High in 1990. I have 2 beautiful kids, Kennedy and Kyrie. Kyrie is a college graduate, working on her master's in public health administration. I'm pushing her right now to come back home and be a blessing to this community as I have. I love New Iberia. I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm here to stay. This is a working man's job. I work hard. My credo is God, family, and hard work. With those 3 things, I know that I can make a difference, but I also want that to penetrate through my soul and integrate into the community. I'm number 93 on the ballot, re-elect Marlon Lewis for City Council, District 2.
Thank you, Marlon.
Hello, my name is Benjamin T. Myers. I'm a candidate for the City Council seat in District 2 here in New Iberia, Louisiana. My number on your ballot would be number 94. There are specific issues that I would like to address as a City Council person, and that would be the roads. We have terrible roads throughout our district, and we need to pay closer attention to it and manage this money correctly where we can apply that money to our roads repair. We also need to pay attention to the CLECO contract. CLECO is really hurting our citizens in District 2. Most people in that district are on fixed incomes, or senior citizens on fixed incomes, and CLECO is just running away with the cost of the electricity as well as the fuel adjustment charge on your bills, if you had noticed. And I think the City Council, it's their job to do something about that. Send a resolution to the Public Service Commission, perhaps, to ask them to ask CLECO to reduce their rates, or order them to have CLECO reduce their rates. I would also like to pay closer attention to Cox Cable, who is another franchisee of the city, and also the rates are extremely high and offering us services that we're not needing at our home, but yet charging for us. For an example, they offer everybody on their bill regional sports. We had a spell just now through the pandemic where we didn't have regional sports coming to our television at all, and things of that nature, but we still having to pay for it. Also, the other things that I would like to address, I'm sure we'll address them later during this forum. Again, my number on the ballot is number 94, and I'm Benjamin T. Myers, and I would appreciate your vote and support in these efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. Deidre?
Good evening. I'm your City Councilwoman for District 4, Deidre Ledbetter. It is hard to believe that it was nearly 4 years ago that I embarked on the journey to become your City Councilwoman, and it is time again for you, the constituents of District 4, to re-elect me to continue moving New Iberia forward. As your elected councilwoman, I have diligently worked for you, talking to you about issues and addressing your complaints and doing whatever I could to remedy those situations. I pushed to begin the $1.5 million drainage project on Jefferson Terrace to help alleviate flooding problems in the area. This is only phase 1. Phase 2 will start soon. I am chairperson of the Ordinance Committee and have been working to review, update, and enact ordinances that are beneficial to the community. In 2016, I was a newcomer, but I had the passion and the drive to do whatever was necessary to make New Iberia a better place to live, work, and raise a family. And I have done just that. My passion and drive have not diminished in fact, it has grown. There are many projects to work for in District 4, as well as citywide, and with your support and your vote, I will be able to continue moving New Iberia forward. So please vote Deidre Ledbetter, number 95.
Thank you, Deidre. And thank you, candidates, for the opening statement. We'll move on to the first question. We're going to begin with you, Sherry. Why are you running, and what makes you the better qualified candidate in your race for City Council?
Well, that's a great question. I ran in 2016 because I ran as an underdog. I had a lot of support behind me, and it wasn't just about the people that was behind me. It was because I was the underdog, and I do understand what it means that you need a voice in the community. I was a foster child, an award of the state. I understand pain. I recognize the things that people go through. I've stayed with different families. I understand the family fabric unit makeup. I decided to run for city council because I'm a coffee drinker, and I like to sit down and talk with my husband about many issues. And by the time I decided to run, he said, you know what, why don't you just run? Because the truth of the matter is you can't get anything done just sitting here talking about it. So I'm the type of person, I like to bring the fight to the dog. And on top of that, talk about the issues that plague us, but also talk about the positive things that we've moved New Iberia forward with. So again, I'm excited about New Iberia. I'm ready to get back to work, and I'm ready to move New Iberia forward with the great administration that I'm a part of. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Dee Dee.
Well, the reason I'm running is because in some ways the New Iberia that I came home to isn't the New Iberia that I left. When I grew up here, there was a lot for kids to do. I mean, I used to play softball, I played tennis, archery, all of that at Weston Park. I took swimming lessons there. I later on became a lifeguard. That was my summer job. When I came home, I couldn't find those programs for the kids. And one of the first things, I'm very passionate about children. One of the first things I did was I started substitute teaching because I have a business education degree. And I would talk to the kids, and they were telling me there's nothing to do here. And so that's, something that's very important to me. I want to try and figure out how can we make it better for them. Also, I see a lot of boarded up businesses and boarded up homes. When I lived here, those were thriving businesses. They weren't a bunch of boarded up homes. There's so many people that have left this city because there's not amenities that they want here in this city, and there's not the economic development that they need in order to stay here. Children are leaving because there is not enough economic development so that they can get good jobs and raise their families here. I want to bring that back to the city. I want to use my knowledge and skills to bring those things back to this city to make it great the way it was in the past.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Marlon?
Again, it's about legacy for me, not entitlement. Legacy to serve and continue to serve. So the question isn't not why I'm running, but it's why do I continue to run? It's because the race isn't given to the swift, but it's given to those who endure the test of time. Changing a community is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm in it for the long haul. I came on board in about 2005 after there was a murder, Jamon Rogers, in my community, in my best friend's neighborhood. I got involved and I got on board. There was a town hall meeting at the homeless shelter and I showed up. Didn't know anything about government other than what I had learned from my grandfather and my aunt, but I knew I wanted to get involved and I wanted to stay involved. Things have changed. Some things have gotten better. Some things have stayed the same. But at the end of the day, I want to remain on the battlefield. I'm up for the fight. I'm up for the challenge. We have a lot of work to do, but we have to do it collectively, not individually. There are a lot of players in this community, but they're not all in the game. I choose to stay in the game, work hard, tirelessly, but not effortlessly, because I know this is a challenge, an uphill challenge. And there's a lot of homes that are abandoned, a lot of businesses that are abandoned, but the city council can't change that by themselves. It takes a whole community. It takes community buy-in. It takes people in the community to want to come back and open a business or remodel their parents' home and make something out of it like I have done. That's why I'm running.
Thank you, Marlon.
Would you repeat that question again?
Yeah, absolutely. Why are you running and what makes you the better qualified candidate in your race for city council?
Well, I'm running because I feel I can serve the community better than is presently being served. I also would go on to think that I am the only quote-unquote qualified candidate in this district to run. It's been an investigation by the DA's office into Marlon's residential as well as domicile location. And it was again sabotaged by DA Andy Shealy in order to favor an unfair election in this process. So having said that, there are things that we need to address in our district that we haven't been addressing, particularly, like I said initially, with the roads. We have a 1961 tax that we have for roads, park and recreation, as well as police department. I think that tax should be divided equally throughout the year, with a percentage, 1/3 being dedicated to roads, not to be used for anything else until we build up a fund enough to where we can start to do some of the roads that we have, like for example, St. Jude Street between Robinson and Ambassador Mill, deplorable shape. St. Matthew's Cemetery, where we all, this table here probably have loved ones buried in deplorable shape, the road there. It needs road and sidewalk there, to be honest with you, as well as LaSalle Street between blocks of Washington Street and St. Peter Street. You would tear up a car, bus, or anything riding on that piece of junk. So we need to, with respect to roads, do some road work in our district, you know.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Deidre?
I have been a public servant all my life. I was an educator for 33 years, and for the past 4 years, I've served on this city council. I have, like I said previously, that I am a chairperson of the ordinance committee, and we are working to revise and update the ordinances in our city, which is an important part of moving New Iberia forward. I also know that the council has made a real good start, and we need to continue what we're doing. We have real good partnerships, you know, with each other, and we have a real council that are cohesive. And I think that that is important in order to be able to, you have to be able to work together in order to get things done. So That is why I'm running again, because we have a very good start, but we have a long way to go. And it's important to me that I want to see it through to finish some of the things that have been started in this 4 years, in the next 4 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deidre. Robert?
Well, first I'd like to say I admire and I congratulate all of the seated council. I don't think that I'm certainly any better than Ms. Ledbetter. I don't ever run on that component. I think it's an admiration to run for something to make it better. I think we all have our own ideas. I think some of the ideas that I'd have for the city would be new income streams, because I also agree that there are too many boarded up houses and too many boarded up businesses. And I think that you need new ideas in order to propel money from different areas. And I think more working closer to the city, state, parish entities and our representatives also in Washington, that we can get something from some of those places. How much is being done at this point, I have no idea. But I think that's something that needs to be done. And that's my reason for running.
Thank you, Robert. And thank you, candidates, for the answers. We're going to move on to question number 3. We're going to start with you, Dee.
Okay.
What are the 2 biggest issues you want to address? Either citywide issues or just in your specific district? And what will you do to address each?
So the first one, obviously, I think it would be with the children. I think that we have a lot of crime, although it's better since we have our own police department. We need to give these children something to do. We also need to give them something to do past high school. Not every child is going to go to college. Not every child is going to go to just like even a 2-year college, but what about some trade schools? They used to have those things in New Iberia. We need to bring that back so that these kids who are not uniquely qualified to go on to college can go on to a trade school and still get a skill and make a good living. The other thing I would say is around infrastructure. I would want to work on the roads. There are a lot of roads in New Iberia that are terrible. There's Ann Street, it's horrible. Bank Street, there's Hopkins, there's so many different areas, and that's just the main arteries, the places where people drive through all the time. There are so many other side streets. In order to bring economic development here, we have to fix the infrastructure. We also have to think about the fact that if we don't fix things like drainage and roads, that climate change is happening. And we're going to have stronger and stronger storms as the years go by. We've got to get ready for that. And the only way to do that is to invest into our infrastructure so that we can not only attract businesses, but protect our constituents as climate change gets worse over the next few years.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Marlon?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, absolutely. What are the 2 biggest issues you want to address? Either citywide issues or just in your specific district? And what will you do to address each?
I'll give you 7. Roads, 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 and roads. And my 7th, which is really number 2, is gun violence in my community. We have to get the guns off the street. Roads, that's coming down the road. We've been bonded out. We can't get any more money to fix roads. But if I'm not mistaken, coming up next year or year after, we're going to be rebonding some more money to fix our roads, our more deplorable roads. It's not our fault that we didn't have money to fix the roads that are causing us problems now. But we are here to make sure that that happens when we get reelected, when I get reelected. Gun violence is very tough. In my district, in other districts, but particularly in mine, we have to get the guns off the street. We have to give those kids, those young men, something to do. We have to give them an alternative. I've talked with the Sheriff, Tom Romero, and whoever the DA is. I want to talk to them as well about doing some type of diversion program where parents who are housing kids who may have a gun in the house, that if they turn that gun in, they won't get a penalty. Or if they have a warrant, they turn in that gun. If it's a misdemeanor warrant, we can wash away that. Do some gun buybacks in our community. We have to get this aura of New Iberia is not the best place to come because of these shootings that are happening in my community and other communities as well. I'm really concerned about the guns. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlon. Benjamin?
Well, I spoke about the roads earlier, but one of the two of the other issues and things that I cited was the CLECO contract. For an example, we have, well, CLECO right now are charging us 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity services. Before the Australians bought CLECO, we were only being charged upwards of 4.7, which is 4 cents and 7/10 of another cent per kilowatt hour. We also have a case on our CLECO bills where our fuel adjustment charge, has increased. Now, oil and gas price was just down recently, but we didn't see the fuel adjustment charge reflect that on our bills from CLECO. All right, so a resolution from the City Council to the Public Service Commission asking CLECO to reduce their rates, would be one of the first things that I would initiate. Also, the same thing applies to Cox. Cox has us, we can't even receive our City Council meetings because we can't afford Cox services. Steady increasing through the years. Not justifying why the increases are. For an example, the surcharges and the fees on Cox bill, if you ever seen it, like, just through the roof, it's just ridiculous, So those things would help all our seniors as well as our fixed income people in our area who, just can't afford to, simply get those services, So, and also law enforcement. We need, with respect to law enforcement, we need to upgrade our law enforcement, do better than what we're doing with our new police department, when it comes down to crime in our district. So those are some of the main things that I would address coming in the door.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Deidre?
First of all, I would like to see our economy be more diversified, and also see that our kids are better educated. And those things go together. If we diversify our economy to go out and seek out new industries, such as technology, that's a big thing around, and also green energy type jobs. If we do those things, then we gotta work to educate our kids so that they are able to fill those positions when they become available. So we definitely need to work with our school system as well as our university and our community college system in order to prepare our students to be able to perform those jobs when they become available. So we definitely need to expand things because oil definitely, is kind of going down right now, and we always weigh heavily on that. But we need to seek out other ways in order to, get money to come into our city. And when new jobs come in, new companies come in, our city grows, which means our tax base grows, and therefore we can do more things with the money from the taxes to do things like roads and also prepare our infrastructure. So those are the two things that I would like to work on.
Thank you, Deidre.
Well, the two main things, and I think everyone's echoed them, the roads. We need that to be done. I understand that the city's bonded out, and that's understandable. They have worked on the roads when they had the money. So we need different monies to come in. We need to go to different areas and find different streams. I think that we have other means of doing things, and that's what I mean by other new people bringing in new ideas is what's handy. There's some things that people don't think about. I was involved with a lot of industries that we could get money from, and that's one of the things that I would like to pursue as a councilman. My second thing is the violence and the problems, not problems, but the indifferences that the police are having throughout the country. And I know we had it here, we had a problem here for a while, we still do. I'd like to echo Mr. Lewis on that we need to do something with this. We need to come up with new ideas, some working ideas that can curb that's what's going on. Because it's just something that's going to tear this community apart just like others have been. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Sherry.
Finally, it's my turn. Okay. So when we took the seat in 2016, people were dying in the streets. People were scared to come out of their houses. I never forget, there were gunshots in the air 24/7. People were afraid. People were calling me, crying on the phone. Families were afraid to go out in the front yard and play. Let us not forget how far we've come. When we first took the seat, we was working with a skeleton budget. We worked with what we had. And we took that, and with the progressive mayor that we have and the team that we have, and we did a SWOT analysis on our budget. We cut back where we needed to cut back. But we chose public safety over roads. We chose public safety and law enforcement over abandoned houses, because public safety comes first. If I had to choose again today, would I do the roads in New Iberia that are crappy versus your public safety? I would have chosen, again, public safety. Our police department, we're proud of what we've built, but we could always improve on community policing and any other things that the community thinks is going to create a better working relationship. I believe that New Iberia should continue to tell their story. We have a unique story here, and that's what sells. That's what's going to cause a buy-in from the community about these abandoned houses, because let's face it, city government is your last resort concerning abandoned houses. It's really our responsibility within our neighborhoods to take care of one another. Again, I chose your safety over roads and abandoned houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. And thank you, candidates. We're going to move on to question number 4. We're going to start with you, Marlon. What can you tell us about the city's finances? And what's your outlook for the next 4 years as far as covering expenses? Where might expense reductions be made? What are possible areas to increase revenues? Please try to offer some specifics. For example, if you think the city can get grants for certain efforts, can you offer some specifics on what sorts of grants these might be?
That's a good question, but it's a long and a complicated question. I'm gonna try to give you the short version. When we took over, we had a $700,000 deficit. We are now at a $3 million surplus. We're in the black. Because of COVID-19, our finance department, our mayor, and our council, we predicted a downturn in the economy like everybody else. But because of people shopping local in New Iberia, we didn't have it as bad as other places have. And we are going to do some things. The main source of income in our community is shopping locally. So we need to develop new businesses in our community. We can't pass another tax. I would love to campaign to pass another tax as we did in 2016 through 18 to get our police department back. But people are taxed out, and I get that. We have to find another way. We have to find another way to increase our funds. And I think the best way is to get people to come and do business here, to stay here. Like I said earlier, I want my daughter to come here and maybe open a mental health facility, because she's studying right now in her master's for public health administration. I said, baby, you coming home to help our community. We need that. And it's going to be a tax base. And it's going to be something else for us to be proud of.
Thank you, Marlon. Benjamin?
But when it comes down to the administration of our finances, I think that we can seriously look at those taxes and allow those taxes to be used particularly and dedicated to what they were designed to do. For example, the 1961 tax, the one that's divided between the police department for roads and as well as parks and recreation. But then if we divide that properly, administration divides it properly, and the council, of course, controls the money, we know that, and allocate those particular funds for what they're designed for, we can address these roads without having to say, hope we can pass or float a bond. That's to begin with. Now, when it comes down to managing the money, things of that nature, we as a council, well, if we just find ourselves going into the red, into the debt, then we can cut back on some of these, what you call longevity raises that we give to our city employees, who've been there, 5 years or better. They automatically, some city employees get this 2% raise as civil service employees. All right, so we can address that issue, in such a manner. Now, anything else when it comes to recreation, we are getting grants, but we're getting grants just for one particular part of town. It's every time we hear a grant, it's on Main Street, it's a kayak, or it's something else. I mean, Jesus, we can use grant money to build a swimming pool back in Western Park that we need, when it comes to recreation and, health and safety, because that's what we've taught, learn ourselves to swim over the years for safety's sake, So things of that nature would be, on the forefront when I'm thinking.
Thank you, Benjamin. Deidre?
As Councilman Lewis said, right now we do have a surplus. And through this COVID-19, it hasn't really dropped. We've just working on accepting our new budget for this ensuing year. And some things that have come in, we've gotten some grants. And we've been lucky to get some grants, and just like Mr. Myers said, they've been for certain areas. But of course, there are a whole lot more out there. And we also have a plan for not just the downtown area, because that's where our plan started. But now we have a master plan that goes out to all the districts. And there are going to be improvements through grants and through other funding sources, and of course from the tax dollars, on improving New Iberia. That's going to be coming out really soon in the month of October. Our mayor is going to open it up to the public to let everybody see, what we have planned for New Iberia in all of our districts. We definitely had input into it, and, we want to definitely see it through. At this time, cutting, I don't think we should do any, and because we want to increase, spending for certain things like the roads and all. So that's it.
Thank you, Deidre. Robert?
Well, not being in the council, I can't say with 100% certainty what that budget is, how it's structured, and so forth. That's something you got to have your hands on to see. What I can say is that, as I said before, there are other possibilities, just like there are other grants that can be pursued. I don't know how the city does their grant locating at this point. Again, I think there's other grants we could go after. There's other monies to be gotten out there, and we just need to work on that, specifically on getting more money. Money seems to be the root of everything, or the root of getting everything completed anyway. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Sherry?
Yes. Let me just say first off that under this administration, Ms. Jane does a wonderful job with our grant, obtaining our grants. We've obtained a lot of grants under this administration, probably most than others. And yes, we moved from the police department after we've built that from scratch, from the ground up, trying to bond that money for that. The people voted that they chose their safety over anything else in this city. But let me say this, tourism is an important part of our economic engine. And when we learn to continue to tell our story about who we are here in New Iberia, the uniqueness, the good food, the flavors, the sugar, the salt, everything in between, the Native Americans, the Spaniards, the African Americans, and tell our story well and craft that enough to not only continue to celebrate that, but also to tell it enough to where others will know past these district lines, past the state lines, and that they want to come here to New Iberia. So yes, we started with what we have. We're continuing to go after of what we need, and we want to continue to cultivate our economic development and our infrastructure, and that we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Edie?
So I haven't had as much exposure to the budget, but I have looked at it and I've been to some of the meetings where even like this year, they've only used maybe 6% of the budget. Because of COVID, a lot of projects stopped. I'm looking forward to seeing the budget for 2021. But here's the thing. There are ways to save money in the city without always just maybe say like cutting. We do need to drive revenue here. We need business development. But we also need to use technology. The one thing that I don't see much of here is the use of technology. The city is one of the largest employers in New Iberia. But have we looked at how we can replace some of these people with technology to do the same job and probably do it better? And I'm not advocating causing people to lose their jobs. I'm saying people can be repurposed into other roles, but we can actually reduce the cost of our government by employing technology. I've seen it done over and over again, and it's not something that's prevalent here. And I have a technology background. I've worked in technology for almost 30 years, and I'm happy to kind of come in and help drive technology into the city so that we can reduce some of our costs, and then take that money and repurpose it to whatever projects that are necessary, parks and rec, roads, drainage, whatever that is. But we need to move forward and move toward the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you, candidates, for the answers. And we will move on to the next question. And Benjamin, we'll start with you. As a city council member, what will you do in addressing issues around the city about blightened or substandard properties that negatively impact adjacent property owners, the neighborhoods in which they are situated, as well as the overall perception of our city from visitors and potential residents or businesses?
Well, we know in blighted areas, particularly if you have a health and safety issue, those sites should be cleaned up and torn down. Just simply put, if we have other places where it is not in such deplorable condition, we can find grants for them, just like we find grants for everything on Main Street. We can assist those people who cannot afford to save those homes, but maybe in the future someone can come along and do something with that. And it also helps to make us a stabilized community, when you have homes. When you have apartment housing and stuff and you're tearing down all the homes, people are moving into a transit state. So our voting block and our stability in our district, it's diminished at that point, So again, but the city does, use its resources to keep those properties up, which I think is a good thing. But at the same time, if you have possession of properties like we have on Civic Source, sell them for a minimum cost, and don't try to be greedy or profiteer off of the loss of somebody else. That type of thing is, we pay attention to as well, But again, we have so many blighted throughout the city, but primarily we seem to be like in District 2, between District 2 and District 5, like, oh, Jesus. It's like we tearing on everything we can. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it just, we can preserve some of those sites. A lot of things that we can do to, benefit from, preserving those sites. That's my time.
Thank you, Benjamin. Teacher?
Well, right now we're working on a new list, a new demolition list, and we're prioritizing those by our districts. We've always had a list, and in my particular district, there was none on the list, so I have some on the list now. Because nobody wants to live next door to a house that's, they have rodents coming out and everything's just falling down. It may be boarded up, but it's falling down. So I think demolition, with those particular properties should be done by the city as soon as possible. And of course, then when the property is left, sometimes it's more feasible to just sell the property and hopefully build something new and much better on it. So I think we have more money dedicated this year to do the demolitions. I mean, nobody really likes to demolish somebody else's property, but if they're not keeping it up and not paying the taxes, things like that, the best thing to do is, to get rid of it, because most of the time it's a safety hazard. And of course, it brings other people's property value down. So I think that those that we should demolish, and those that we can save through grants and other ways, and through working with the families, we should try to do something with.
Thank you, Deidre.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. As a city council member, what will you do in addressing issues around the city about blightened or substandard properties that negatively impact adjacent property owners, the neighborhoods in which they are situated, as well as the overall perception of our city from visitors and potential residents or businesses?
Well, I think I'm going to be like a broken record, because most of the participants already have stated that the best thing going is what they have going. They're getting rid of the blighted properties as they can, but like you said, it's always an emotional issue for you to tear someone's house down, even though they're not living in it. It tends to almost to come into a constitutional issue by having it done. But I think just maybe a more aggressive, if that's possible, a more aggressive policy on that. And I do believe that once that is addressed to a certain point, that you can expect people to want to live here after they've seen sites being cleaned up. And I think that again, it's a pretty difficult issue, and I think the city now is doing the best they can with it, and I'd like to see that continue.
Thank you, Robert. Sherry?
Yes, if you would repeat the question for me as
Absolutely.
well.
As a city council member, what will you do in addressing issues around the city about blightened or substandard properties that negatively impact adjacent property owners and the neighborhoods in which they are situated, as well as the overall perception of our city from visitors and potential residents or businesses?
You know, I think we need to continue to look at our assets, turn our liabilities that we have here in New Iberia into great assets, begin to target, strategically target certain neighborhoods. So wherever there's, out of those 1,500 abandoned properties or 500 adjudicated properties are, we've mapped them out, the mayor and I. We talked about it, and it's a lot in certain districts. So they are strategically targeted. We've mapped them out. We've identified them. That was the first step going forward, because I didn't see anything before that when we decided to do that. Next, I think we need to take some of the, look at the budget and also think about temporary urbanism or an alternative way or approach to land usage here in New Iberia. So if we have a lot of these abandoned properties, or whatever the reason is, sometimes it's due to several reasons, family reasons, but at the end of the day, maybe donate, start maybe campaigning or talking with our residents to start donating some of that property to nonprofits or to even to the city. And then we can have different land mix and use about these properties. Maybe some little small farms within the city. You know, more green pocket parks within the actual neighborhoods. So again, there's always vast challenges that we could all look at together, come up with something new. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Petey?
So there's a lot of blighted properties in District 5. And, you know, I'm not advocating, you know, causing poor people more problems because maybe they can't afford to do certain things. But I do think that we have to think about their neighbors. And so, you know, we have to make sure that the grass is being cut. We have to make sure that properties are boarded up and that they're not causing problems and rodents aren't, you know, crawling into other people's homes. I think that there are ways to do this to help the poor people and also to help the city. The District 5 is a large area of what they call an opportunity zone. We need to get investors to come in and help us to change these neighborhoods. These opportunity zones are these low-income areas, so it has to be a low-income area. So take some investors, pull a group of people together, and let's start investing in those areas to make them better, to fix up these homes, to sell them, because we need to open up home ownership in New Iberia. There are a lot of low-income families that are working poor, but they can probably afford a home if we had something that was a little more affordable for them, something that they can pass on to their children. And so I think, you know, I would say one more thing about Civic Source. You know, we give people 6 months to pay their taxes, or we will turn around and we will auction off their house. But we let people buy them, and we let them sit for a whole year without touching these properties. There needs to be some sort of deadline for when they fix them.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Marlon?
Blighted properties. First of all, I'll tell you where I'm at. 734 Lombard, my grandfather's home, my address, where I domicile, where I do all of my work to serve this city. You can catch me there 6 days a week. But let me tell you about that property, and sometimes on Sunday. But let me tell you about that property. That property was my grandfather's house that was moved there in 1970 from Maurice, Louisiana. House is over 100 years old. The house was in deplorable condition. It was on a demolition list. My family contacted me and said, Marlon, we're giving you the house if you can do something with it. I created a home occupancy business there where I run a barber shop and I sleep there. And one thing I know is lead by example is the best way to lead. I own 4 properties, and not one of them have I got a letter for grass cutting, for blight, or anything. When you tear down a house, it's one of the most drastic things you can do. That's where partnership come in. I thank God for Southern Mutual Help Association senators to the neighbor work conferences all over the country to talk about blighted neighborhoods and areas. And I have a wealth of knowledge. You're speaking my language now. We, through a partnership with the Mixon family, got 21 houses torn down without using a dime from the city. 21 houses on Shot Street. Not to mention, because of the shootings happening in that area, we partnered with the family of Ms. Val Malik Paradan and changed the name to her because she was a leader in that community. She raised a plethora of children in that community, and we named the street after Val Malik Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlon. Thank you, candidates. So now this will be a 60-second closing remark. And Deidre, we'll start with you.
I just want to say the past 4 years have been a pleasure to serve as District Councilwoman for District 4. We have made a good start, and I want to continue to work on those things that I have started and see them through. So with your vote and your continued support, I'll be able to do just that and keep New Iberia moving forward. So please remember, vote Deidre Ledbetter, number 95.
Thank you, Deidre. Robert?
Thank you. My name is Robert H. Bob Titus. I'm a successful businessman here in New Iberia. I have some great ideas I'd like to put forward to exemplify what's being done. I want to add to what is being done in the council. Not trying to outdo anyone or overdo anyone, just trying to do what I can do for the citizens of this city. My name is Robert H. Titus. I'm number 96 on your ballot, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Sherry?
I'm Sherry Guidry. I'm number 97 on the ballot. I want to thank all of the people that are sitting here at this table. It just shows that we're all passionate about what we believe for New Iberia. New Iberia is a great place to live, and we're blessed to actually have such great leaders on the council, as a mayor, as under this administration, and also to the residents that are here in New Iberia. We're like no other municipality. We're like no other neighboring city. We have our own story. Again, I'm here because I want to be here, because I love to talk with people and be with people and help people. I've been in service all my life as well, as either in church or public service. I even serve out of my home. So again, I'm Sherry Guidry. I'm number 97 on the ballot, and I hope I have your support on November the 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Dee Dee?
I'm Dee Dee Johnson Reed, and I know I haven't lived here for long. I moved away for a while, but that also makes me a great candidate for this position because I've been other places, I've seen other things, and I'm a visionary leader, and I can bring a lot of innovative solutions to some complex problems that we have here in New Iberia. I care about this city, I care about the people here, that's why I came back home, and that's why I have decided to come from retirement and put my name in the hat so I can serve people. Because I am a servant leader and I want to serve New Iberia, I want to help us to get better. I've invested in this community and I want to stay here for the long haul, and hope you'll give me a chance to show you just how much I care about the people here and I care about where we're going. Thank you. I'm number 98 on the ballot, and I hope I get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Marlon?
Please re-elect Marlon Lewis, number 93 on the ballot. I've done the work. Let the work I've done speak for me. I want to commend Mr. Myers for running and wanting to run and wanting to serve just like I have served. This is a working man job. You have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to get up early. You have to sometimes be willing to stay up late. But I'm up for the challenge and all challenges because it's worth it. My community is worth it. Every challenge I face, I stand bold. If I don't serve another day for New Iberia City Council, I'm going to always serve God, my family, my community, and anybody else that needs my service, because that's what I do. I'm built like that, and I'm built for that. My numbers never change. In 20 years, it's 337-577-3448. Hit me up. I'll be calling you back as soon as I can, which is probably no less than 2 or 3 hours, and we'll get it done, whatever it is.
Thank you, Marlon. Benjamin?
Thank you. First and foremost, I would like to address something that was stated here. Everybody in District 2, one who lives in the neighborhood and community, are well aware that Mr. Lewis does not domicile at 734 Lombard Street, where he has claimed to his domicile. All right, let's get that clear, because if it's a statement like that, it's just an outright lie. All right, now we as Christian people need to learn to follow what's God making right. Now we have to make things right. We have an election process that's been sabotaged by the district attorney's office, Mr. Andy Sheila in particular, when it comes down to an investigation where Mr. Lewis lives at. All right, those things we need to pay close attention to so we can elect our leaders fairly and honestly. Now, outside of that, I would like to address this Hopkins Street money that's been left on the table for some years that we need to address to get to before this money disappears. And aside from that, I would like your vote and support. Number 94 on your ballot. My name is Benjamin T. Myers, and I thank you all kindly.
Thank you, Benjamin. This concludes tonight's forum for the New Iberia City Council. The forum for New Iberia City Marshal will begin at 7:30. We certainly appreciate the time and effort put forth by the candidates here tonight. On behalf of the Greater Iberia Chamber of Commerce, we would like to once again recognize and our forum partners, Iberia Comprehensive Community Health Center and Leadership Iberia Class 22. Again, we wish all the candidates well and wish to encourage all registered voters to exercise your right to vote in this upcoming election.